sure he knows we're calling?
Yeah. Just text me back.
But he's not picking
Books
up.
are in the way.
I think he bowed out after PKs.
He probably saw how rigorous our...
And Walter Cronkite interviewing skills are.
Who's Walter Cronkite?
What? He invented peanut butter.
Oh! Did he?
There he is.
Word.
Do you have to go steal that popcorn sign from a closed down movie theater?
It's not even real.
Monty Kaufman, welcome to Close Quarters. Tell us in just a few words who you are, what you do, how you know us, and why you are tolerating having this guy in your house in Iowa while he's going to college.
My name is Monty Kaufman, and I'm in Ankeny, Iowa. Iowa, not Indiana, Idaho, or Ohio. I am teaching at Faith Baptist Bible College, youth ministries classes, local church ministry classes, and I'm also coaching the women's basketball team along with my
Go
wife.
Eagles, by the way.
That's right. Shout out to Eagles.
It's a very creative name. I don't think any other sports team in America has the name
We
Eagles.
had it first. Second oldest Bible college in the U.S.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys had Gutenberg as your first president, didn't you?
Yeah.
Wasn't he the founding father?
He pressed all the textbooks himself.
I gotcha.
Yeah, trying to explain why we'd let Jared stay in the house. I mean, it was a weak moment, and I said no, but my wife said okay if we have to, and so we just kind of, said, hey, it's a ministry opportunity, and
Yeah. It was all for the crowns. He figured if anything will get me crowns in heaven, this certainly will.
There must be some form of tax deduction that goes along with this, having an extra member in your family.
Oh, yes, sir. We definitely claimed him on several different forms.
Technically, it might be illegal. Housing a fugitive. I don't know what the parameters for that are.
I don't know. Might be a tax break.
My question is, if you could choose any character
No,
from
you
a
can't
fiction...
ask it a second time.
Well, no, but we get different answers. If you could choose any character from any fictional story, who would you be? And why?
Now, fictional means not true, correct?
This guy works at the college?
Hey, Google,
No.
what's fiction?
I'd probably have to go with one of the Hardy Boy twins. Actually, they weren't twins; they were brothers. I'd go with one. I'd probably go with Frank Hardy.
Well, it's your turn to ask a question now, so now you can reciprocate.
I was just curious what you guys got your mother for Mother's Day.
We've got a neighbor across the street that has a beautiful garden with tons of flowers. And it's highly unlikely that they will notice any of them missing because we pulled them up by the roots. And so we came back and we presented them to Mother. She cut off the roots and got rid of some of the dirt. And so I think we're good.
But yeah, that's nice. That's nice. You guys went out into the war zone. You left the quarantine and you went across the street to get flowers. So that's admirable.
For Father's Day, they've got a dog. You might give that to Dad.
Don't pull them up by the roots. That's all I ask.
Mom told Dad that she wanted for Mother's Day something shiny that went from 0 to 200 in 3.1 seconds. And so I found a bathroom scale in the home section of Walmart. And
I'm sorry, I'm done. I can't do this.
Okay, I'm going to ask you guys a trivia question, if I may.
Go fire, man.
What does COVID-19 stand for? I mean, it's an acrostic. Jared, if you could take this, please.
It was named after the first combination of DNA and elements that created the first disease, and it was cats, otters, and other vermin. And so that started the COVID part, and the ID is it's a what you call What's the you got
identification goes with
You
DNA.
got the pre's.
I didn't think
got
you
the
could spell
subscript-
DNA.
What's it? Subscription comes afterwards.
What's true? And there were 19 of these animals.
Well,
There
the
were, like,
IDS is just a popular.
10 otters and like
You're
3 or
close.
4
You're
cats.
so close. You're so close.
No, the 19. That was the name of the person who found it. It's so old that they used to have numbers for people, and so it was 19 who found it, and he called it COVID-19.
Right.
And
Oh, we've been going on this for 3 minutes. You want to say that you don't know? So now it's time for our 30-second devotional. Let's hear it. Monty's inspiration.
Hey, I'm just going to take you to a verse, one of my favorite verses, Galatians 2:20. Obviously, the Apostle Paul was the one who wrote this book to an area of churches in Galatia. And it's interesting, the Apostle Paul, side note, he wrote a lot of his epistles in quarantine himself, in prison, and obviously under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit gave us a ton of great stuff from God to us, to the churches of that day, but also to us today. But Galatians 2:20, it says, I have been crucified with Christ. It's no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. The life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. And as I think about that verse, one of the challenges during this quarantine pandemic time is just to keep Jesus Christ at the center of our lives. I mean, there's just a lot of stress and worry and, just struggling with all the changes that are going on and not being able to function like we normally do. But that little phrase where Paul says, it's Christ who lives in me, I think really helps us be reminded that we need to keep Christ at the center. He is at the center. Colossians 1 says that by him all things were created, through him and for him, in him all things hold together. So we got to remember that he is at the center. But then just to keep him at the center in the way we think, there's several actions, ongoing actions that Christ is doing in your life that give you reason to keep him at the center. So he gives me actual life, he gives me eternal purpose, and he gives me daily direction. So life, purpose, and direction. He gives me life, he animates me, he gives me purpose, he motivates me, and he gives me direction. He propels me forward in the way I'm supposed to be going as I keep him at the center of all that I'm thinking and doing, and it just affects whatever comes my way in whatever stage of life I'm in, whatever society or a virus or any other struggles or even successes that come my way, to keep him at the center is so very important, and that's the challenge that I have for today. So the gospel is all up in that, amen?
I love it. I love how you got to squeeze 3 points of a sermon into 3 minutes.
30 seconds.
Into 6 30-second. You're one of those preachers that says, I'm almost done, and then half an hour later wraps up my final points. And then 3 hours later, we get
Hey, but you made me remember. COVID. Christ only. Very important, dude.
I love it. How should we end this?
Like this.